Let's go. We are live. Yay. Okay, folks, we are back. I took a week off last week. I had a bunch of craziness with my dad having been in the hospital, and I hadn't been doing so hot. So I just took last week off because I kind of needed a timeout. I needed a break. My car died again. Again. We're pretty sure it's just a gremlin in there. Anyways, nobody's here yet because people probably forgot that I exist. I don't know. But this will be up later, so I'm going to start. Oh, we do have someone watching. Hello, person watching. Um, I have a special guest this week, you guys. Some of you know that I'm friends with Alex from our Nevada judges, and he is covering the case of the state of Nevada versus Richard Hilligus and Stewart Handte. I have Stewart Handte. Today, we are not talking about his case, though. We're going to watch some stuff, some of the things you guys may not know. Hey, Rachel, how are you? Stewart was a cop for 30 years in Nevada for, I believe, Washoe County. I know 2 tribes. He was the chief of police. Let me bring him up, and he can tell you more about his work. Hello, Stewart.
Good afternoon, Jess. How are you?
I am doing well. I have actually enjoyed talking to you this last week and getting to know you a little bit more. So
And likewise as well. Yes.
I am glad to have you on my show. So you were a cop or in law enforcement for 30 years. What kind of was your background? How did that all start off?
Well, let's start at the beginning. My father was a UDT Navy frogman. He met my mother in New York. There's a little coincidence with your family.
Yep,
And
my mom's from New York and met in the Air Force. Yep.
So my dad was actually on leave and went to New York City, and my mom was with a bunch of her friends at the beach. And my dad saw my mom, and my mom, of course, everybody's mom's beautiful. So my mom was beautiful, and my dad was a handsome man. And he threw a football by her, and then they started talking. And she was dating a bunch of guys, and he basically said, either you're going to date me or you're going to not date me, but you're not going to date a bunch of guys besides me. So that started the whole thing. Anyways, my mom was born and raised in Vermont. Bellows Falls, Vermont, where she born, and eventually raised in Vergennes. That's my hometown. So I was born 1960 in New York City, Brooklyn. And my dad, who had lived there all of his life, said he didn't want to raise his son in the city, which I get. So we moved to Vermont. Well, my dad applied to be a Vermont state trooper and was accepted as a state trooper. But my mom had gotten a job at a hospital in Burlington, which is the biggest city of Vermont. So my dad was going to be stationed in Rutland, which was 63 miles south of Burlington. So my dad said, I can't take the job. So he declined the job, but the Vermont State Police basically said, we want you to work for us. He was very well recognized for his diving experience in the Navy.
Yes.
And so they made him an auxiliary member to Vermont State Police. I still have that badge in storage somewhere. I kept that. So I was raised in Vermont, first 14 years of my life. My family had relatives out in Reno, Nevada. So when the economy really went bad in Vermont, my mom and dad picked up stakes. I'm the only child. I have no brothers and sisters. And we moved to Reno. Went to high school here, graduated, went to University of Nevada, Reno, graduated there with a Bachelor of Arts and Science degree in Criminal Justice.
Nice.
Applied for and was accepted into Highway Patrol Academy. My dad, prior to that, was a Washoe County deputy sheriff. So that's where you get the Washoe County from. My dad was a Washoe County deputy sheriff for 9 years. I began my career with the Nevada Highway Patrol June 6th of all days, D-Day, 1984. And was served with honors and distinguishment. I don't like to pat myself in the back, but I think we did okay with the team we had.
Yeah.
I was actually not promoted. You just attained the rank of senior state trooper once you got 15 years under your belt. So I retired from the state of Nevada April 8th, 2003.
Okay.
I won't go into a lot of the stuff why I retired because I'd rather focus on the good stuff and some of the stories that we can talk about. I eventually went on to become a deputy sheriff with the Story County Sheriff's Office for 2 terms. I left there, and after that, I worked for a very dear friend of mine as a part-time private investigator for a short time. It was when my mom was health was declining, and
Okay.
I was able to spend a lot of time with her because time was not a luxury I had with her, just like my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got back into law enforcement as an adult probation officer with Reno Sparks Indian Colony in July of 2000 and I'm trying to 2009. And a friend of mine who was a dispatcher with the Highway Patrol said there was a open sheriff's position with the Mineral County Sheriff's Office, and she gave me that information in October of 2013. I applied for and eventually attained the rank of the sheriff of Mineral County. Started my
So,
career there.
so is that elected or is that appointed?
Well, what had happened was the sheriff that had been in that position popped smoke and left in the middle of the night. Rumor has it that he was growing marijuana in this house. That's kind of frowned upon here, when you're a cop. So
Yeah.
the
I
undersheriff
think
did
it is
not
everywhere.
yeah, and exactly. The undersheriff did not want the sheriff's position. Come to find out, the reason she didn't because she wasn't post certified. You have to be post certified to be the sheriff of the county. I was. I was given the position. I ran to retain that position. I quote unquote lost the election, but it was the Dominion ballot system, and somebody tampered with the election. Again,
Ooh.
I don't want to dwell on the negatives. I just say I didn't
Yeah.
stay as sheriff. I went to work at the Army Depot base in Hawthorne after I left the sheriff's position in Mineral County, which is right inside Mineral County. It's right inside Hawthorne, actually. And then
Hang on just 1 second. We have Rachel McCrae. She says, "Hello, Stewart."
hello, Rachel,
And
Detective
your dad,
Rachel, right?
I don't know if that's really her name, if she's really
Okay.
a detective or if she's a YouTube detective, but she said your dad is Awe the Charmer, and then that your story reminds you of her grandpa's story. I don't know if you can see this on
It
screen.
reminds me of Grandpa's story. He was a retired Seattle police detective. He actually created the first bomb school. God bless him.
Yep.
That is a pretty cool accomplishment, Rachel. I have to say that is that there's
Yeah.
not a lot of people. The only thing I will say is I did create something when I was a state trooper. It's called Star NHP. We patterned it after a Star FHP with Star Florida Highway Patrol. It wasn't just my effort; it was a group effort. And to this day, that Star NHP program still exists. And that was, like I said, I left the patrol in 2003. So
Yeah.
they still use it. So I'm proud. I'm proud of the people I worked with there, and I'm proud of the people that I got to know on a personal basis. But to continue the story, and God bless you, Rachel. I noticed a law enforcement position came up as a chief of police with the Yama Tribal Police Department, which I didn't know existed, and of course it does no longer exist as of this day. It was a 2-man department. I applied for it. I got the chief of police position. In fact, as I'm sitting here right now, this is the badge that I created myself. I created it here. That's my design. That's my name on it. It's a flat badge. And so I had that to my credit. I also have the last badge as the chief of police where I worked at the Reno Sparks Indian Colony.
Nice.
And
So is that like an actual tribal land, or is
yeah,
that?
both of those were tribal positions. And of course, I'd already worked at the Reno Sparks Indian Colony as an adult probation officer. I worked there from 2009 to 2013. So that's 5 years that I put in.
This is
And
my service dog, by the way.
that
He's semi-retired.
Yeah. He's awesome.
He is. He has saved my behind a few times. Okay.
I guess I will state this and everybody out there is listening. If you're not an animal lover, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
My dad was a very tough man. I never saw him show much emotion in his life.
That was that generation, I think.
Yeah, and when he lost his pets, and they were like his kids, I saw the life basically come out of him, and he never it dropped him down a chunk. and they never recovered, and then dropped, and every time he lost a pet. The sad trauma, of course, you've experienced trauma yourself, Jess, as I know. Yeah. And you're still doing it. My baptism of fire, of course, was 30 years of law enforcement, but my worst baptism of fire is watching my father pass away in front of my eyes and watch my mother pass away in front of my eyes. So,
oh no, I can't even think about that at this point.
no, it's there's nothing that prepares you for that.
No.
There's really nothing that prepares you for the horrific stuff that you've seen, that a lot of police officers, a lot of deputies, a lot of state troopers see when they go to an accident scene or a crime scene. They're really, you can't prepare yourself for, and I applaud the people that are able to do with child sex crimes, because I don't think I could ever deal with that. I mean, it's just, there's nothing that I could even think of that would make me want to deal with that. And those officers that deal with that.
Rachel's passed away 2 months ago. I am so sorry, Rachel. That's a tough one. I know mine are getting older, and I'm not gonna. Yeah, they're my children. I'm not gonna be okay when mine pass, and they're getting older. So, here's the other one, Luna.
Oh, look at that.
Well, you're a sweet girl.
So, it's the passion of the people that care and have compassionate for animals, and all animals want in return is to be loved and cared for. They don't need to be abused or beaten. And the people that do that, those are your future serial killers. They really are. Those are your future criminals.
That's actually how I got Luna. I didn't know that her owners owned her, and I was friends with her on Facebook. I'm not sure why I was friends with her on Facebook, and she saw a picture of Fritz. He was about a year and a half old, and she was like, "Oh, I have a Dachshund," and I'm like, "What, you do?" And I don't know any Dachshund owners that don't post lots of photos of their dogs.
Oh yeah,
they're just adorable.
That's your kids. Those are your kids, and the people don't get that.
Yep, I met her and Luna up at a dog park with Fritz, and I didn't know Luna didn't have any fur. She was covered in fleas. And then she was like really, really thin. And she was like, well, my husband might be making me get rid of him because we're never home, blah, blah, blah. Well, it turned out he was abusing the dogs. He killed, like a week later, he shot and killed the one dog. And then she saved her life because she was like, I have someone that will take her, and I met her the next morning at their vet, quote unquote, that she had never been to. And when I brought her home, like, I was like, I will pay for the vet visit because she didn't have any money.
Look at him.
Oh, the pretty piggies.
Oh, yeah, there's Pete. This is Pete.
Oh,
there's Pete. He loves it. And there's Rock. And there's
a beautiful mastiff.
Yeah.
And there's a pug.
So, I'm gonna have to get Lewis out of here, or we're not be able to do the show. Out. Pete, you can stay in here. Lewis, get out.
But so I met her at the vet, and I took her home, and she was like, I don't have the money for the appointment. It was $38. It included all the lab tests, the medication, and all that. Like, we gave her Capstar, and a couple hours later found out she was covered in open infected wounds from she's allergic to flea bites, she's allergic to grass, but I took her home. I was like, I'll take her home, and she's mine. You're done. And I've never spoken to her owner again. I unfriended her and blocked her on Facebook. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, that's, Jess, those are just bad people. Those are bad examples of functioning people in society. So God bless you for doing what you've done.
I told her, I said, don't contact me again. If you do, I'm going to turn you into animal control.
Yeah. So,
she's mine. She came home with me, and when my husband got home, he was like, she was in between my legs under blankets, and he saw her move, and he goes, what's that? Because Fritz was in the kennel. And I go, it's a Luna. Yeah. And he's like, what is she doing here? I was like, well, she's here to stay with us. And he goes, for how long? And I go, forever. And he was like, just. He's like, we don't have the money. Well, we really didn't have a lot of money back in the beginning, but we made it work, and she's now a spoiled brat.
She's spoiled, rotten. I can see she's really neglected.
I
Yeah.
just, I know she is. I don't know. You got out of your dress today, didn't you? She had a dress on earlier, but sometimes she'll get out of clothes. She loves wearing clothes. I have hand knitted her a sweater out of my hand spun alpaca fiber. That's like $80 a pound, and I've knitted her a sweater out of it. So yes, she is. She is definitely, neglected and abused. And
Oh yeah, I can see that. It's just awful.
who's that? Is that your daddy?
Huh?
You see, Daddy? She loves her dad.
Oh yeah.
That is,
Yeah.
she is, yeah, she loves him.
Well,
Yes,
like I said, God has blessed you with a very special animal there, and it's not your,
yes,
it's a kid, it's a child.
they are my children. Yeah, they are my children
The
for
love in her
sure.
eyes. Yeah, yes, Rachel, you're exactly correct. The love in her eyes for her dad. So
Yes.
we got that. We got that in
Stop.
common. And I to conclude, I guess
Go, go, go.
I started my last law enforcement position with the Reno Sparks Indian Colony as the chief of police. I beat out 7 other contenders for that position. I was only there a short time, and I had a tribal administrator who at first believed in me and then turned his back on me and basically terminated me off probation illegally. But with tribal law and the way things are done in tribal land is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. Things that are done on the reservation on tribal land are not how anything else works in this country.
It's a weird. So
I am Native American. I don't know what tribe. It was a hidden secret in our family. Like, you didn't talk about it. So I'm actually working on getting back in touch with my tribal roots, and I don't know what tribe exactly. I can trace back to where my family was from. My 6th or 7th great grandfather actually signed the Declaration of Independence. Wow. He was a member of the Continental Congress. Thomas Stone was his name.
So you've got some, and
I got some blood in me.
And the funny thing is, here's another little coincidence we share. On my mother's side of the family, generations back, we had a chief of a tribe, and his last name was De La Baudette. Now,
oh wow,
you've heard, yeah. So Rachel, so you've heard the name Baudette before, because if you heard the commercial about Motel 6, Tom Baudette will leave the lights on. He was a distant cousin to my grandmother, whose name was Dorothy Baudette before it was Dorothy Evans. Nice. So the Baudette family goes back a long, long ways. So anyways, so we have that. Rachel, I guess we have that. The dang Reds. Amen. The dang Reds. You know that though, I really loved working. I never considered myself. I considered myself part of the team. The team has always been part. When you're working on a reservation, it's not the Native Americans versus the white people. It's us versus the adversity in our society. Yeah. And I thought I was part of the team, and unfortunately, that didn't happen. And then a month after I was terminated off probation is when I ran in. Well, when the whole Roger Hilligus situation went down, I had met Roger in a few months prior to, and we just struck up a conversation, and it led to a whole bunch of stuff. Like I said, we're not going to talk about the case today, but that's where it all started. That's where my law enforcement career ended. I'm currently working just in the warehouse as a production person. I get a retirement from the state. I get a salary from where I'm working at. It's a very low stress, low key job compared to what I had.
Sometimes you need that though, like in the end. Like with me, if you would have told me 15, 16 years ago that I would be now YouTubing, married with 2 dogs, spinning yarn, and like designing knitting patterns, I'd have been like, you're fucking crazy. No, you're out of your mind. Like, no, because I was so angry. I got hit head on by a drunk driver, and that ended my career in medicine, in emergency medicine. And I started off at 18 as an EMT, and then I went I went through the police academy here because we had, for our out county, they had a county medic program. And I was like, so I can still help people, but then also help in law enforcement. I was like, sweet, that's like extra helping people. I'm going to do that, you know? So that's why I did it. I wanted to be a county medic, but right before I finished the academy, they were like, "Oh, we're not going to continue the program on. We're not hiring anyone new anymore." So they were like, "Well, you could be a road deputy for like 30,000." I was like, "Nope, nope, nope. I'm not doing it. I'm going to stay in emergency medicine." That was where I wanted to be. To me, it wasn't worth the risk of being a road deputy. Wasn't worth it to me. You know, like I had experienced the stress and the danger, and you know, like it's a traffic stop is the most dangerous thing a police officer does. You know, I was well aware of that, and I was just kind of like, no, I think I will help more people continuing on my college education, becoming a paramedic, than, you know, going on from there. And I was working in Detroit, which is,
Yeah.
Another situation. I am not a big city person. I ended up living in Ann Arbor, which is like 2 counties away from Detroit, and commuting in every day. They're like, you're going to have to live in the city of Detroit. Well, I couldn't find, like, I'd find a good neighborhood, then one neighborhood over, like literally a block over, is gang territory.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it takes longer to drive in on surface streets than it does for me to take the highway in from Ann Arbor 45 miles away. You know, so it was. Rachel said the calm down after the storm. Yes, exactly what it is.
I don't know if Rachel. I don't know if we're getting any more calm after this storm that's there now. Is
Yeah, we're
epic.
having. Okay,
Yeah.
so she said, I screwed myself, started in loss prevention and wanted to go PD, but got hurt and ended up having 18 surgeries in a heart. Whoa!
Wow.
Ruined. Oh, she said earlier she works for Judge King sometimes,
Right.
which is a
Yeah. I
judge
saw
in
that.
Detroit. Yeah, so she does some stuff for a judge.
I
Fritz, what are you doing, dude?
I don't know if I would, and I have actually dissuaded people, discouraged people, whatever verbiage you want to use, away from law enforcement these days.
Yeah, it's
It,
not.
it's
It's
not.
not worth it anymore.
It's not worth it anymore. It's not what it used to be. You've got, and here's where it starts to get a little bit. I was a
Fritz!
background
Oh
investigator
my
with the
God.
Highway Patrol, and we used to do backgrounds on, people that wanted to become state troopers. And when they took that away and gave it to, and I'm not going to hit on normal citizens, but there's a lot of red flags that go unnoticed by the normal non-commissioned personnel. And I told people, I go, look, when you take this away from us, you're opening up the door for Pandora's box, because you're going to get people in there that should have been canked, but somehow are going to slide through. And those are the people that are going to cause problems. And lo and behold, that's
Yeah.
exactly what's happened. I mean, the Nevada Highway Patrol no longer exists, sadly. Now it's gone back.
Oh!
Yeah. So we started out as Nevada State Police. And in 1949, we changed our name to Nevada Highway Patrol. And then just within the last couple of years, I went back to Nevada State Police. We've lost all tradition. We've lost all
Yeah.
heritage. We are down. Last I heard, over 180 positions statewide. Nobody wants to be a state trooper anymore. And for the first time since, I believe, the late 1960s, here in Reno, Washoe County, there will be no state troopers on the road from 2 in the morning till 6 in the morning. And that
Yeah.
is absurd. That is absurd. That is complete breakdown of government people that are supposed to do the job to take care of the public by having more cops on the road. And now we have less cops on the road. So you government officials that are listening out there, you're a bunch of losers.
Yep.
Yeah.
In my county that I live in, it's not after like 9 or 10 p.m. We don't have a deputy on until the morning. We have coverage by the state police, and thankfully, I live like a quarter mile from the state
Said
police
that.
headquarters, so we have a very fast response time, which is wonderful. but for other people in the county, that's scary,
It is.
you know?
It's scary. And, if you don't think the criminal element knows about this, think again. I will tell you this: you're in Michigan, I'm in Nevada, but obviously, as you well know, Reno is a 24-hour town. It does not sleep at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
The homeless people have invaded this town and are destroying it on a daily basis.
Oh,
There is, and I'm gonna say this. We talked about this the other day, and it may open up. And Rachel, I hope you're still listening. We have a
she is.
sex. We
She
have a
convinced
sex.
her daughter to go. Her daughter wanted to go PD, but convinced her to go to medical, and she just got her CNA, and that's a good
Good.
start. If
Uh,
she becomes a nurse, she can, I believe, depending on where she goes and what she specializes in, she can earn just as much as
yeah,
doctors because we are so short of nurses here in
nurse.
Michigan.
My mom served my mom was a registered nurse for 45 years. She was a licensed practical nurse, I think, for the first 5 years of her career, and then she became a registered nurse. We have a significant sex trafficking problem in Reno.
Yeah.
Uh,
Rachel, share the GoFundMe and I will put it up.
no,
Post the
uh,
link here and I can definitely put that up for you.
yeah, it's. I don't know
Sex
what to say.
trafficking is a problem like everywhere.
Yeah, but here's the scary thing. There's currently 2 inmates at Washington County Jail facility. And I won't say their names because I don't want to put them in any more danger than they're already at. They have
You're welcome,
knowledge.
Rachel.
They have knowledge and access to the fact that cops are involved in the sex trafficking.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I think I told you about I'm working on a documentary, right?
Right? Yes, you did.
So what my followers know is it is about the dentist I had as a kid once we moved up here to Michigan. Um, he was eventually convicted of 16 counts of sex abuse against a minor boy and then a bunch of child abuse. He was in prison. He did like almost 3 years, got his conviction overturned on a technicality. There was ethics problems within the prosecutor's office.
Right.
So he got a new trial. He ended up, the prosecuting attorney gave him a sweetheart deal, pled no contest to 1 count of child abuse, no longer a registered sex offender, no more prison time. He was free to go. Oh, like 6 months later, the prosecuting attorney pled guilty to human sex trafficking. The
Wow.
same prosecutor that
Same.
gave my former dentist. Yes. Yes.
Well,
And honestly, I have to figure out how to copy this.
there's a GoFundMe thing that she put up.
Yes. I have to
I
figure
already
out how to copy it.
told you. Well, we hit on some of the stories that we talked about the other day. About the former district attorney in this county who was involved with running high-priced call as a district attorney of the county. Now, let Rachel understand that the district attorney of the county at the time was in cahoots with the owner of a local hotel. I'm going to leave the names out of it right now, and a third person that were running high-priced call girls out of the 5th floor of this hotel. This was told to me when I was still working at the Highway Patrol. I thought it was a tall Reno tale, and he told me the whole background of Ryan. And I'm skipping over a bunch of stuff, and I put it away in the back of my head until I became the chief of police at Yamba, and this was decades afterwards. So that was probably told to me in 1999, 2000. I was the chief of police in Yamba in 2016. So it was 17 years plus. And I was talking to my tribal administrator, and we just got on the story of what I've just told you. And this big smile came over her face. And I'm like, is there something funny? She goes, no, continue the story. So I told her, finish the story. She goes, that story is true, right? And I kind of took a step back and go, you're going to tell me something here that's really going to blow my socks off. She goes, yeah. She goes, the third person was my husband that was involved in that little business deal. And I was a receptionist that was checking in the Reno businessmen for their afternoon of frolicking with the prostitutes. I went, F me to tears. So that's how corrupt this county has been. And to hear the story you just told me should shock the conscience, but it doesn't. It's just
Mm-mm.
another prime example of somebody using their power and influence and authority under the legal system to commit crimes. And
Yep.
where does it stop? You know, where does the truth come out? Where does the people, the public conscience go, wait a minute, time out for the home team here?
Yeah.
You know, and we had, unfortunately, as I'm sure you've got stories as well, we've had some people that worked the highway patrol that got popped for. Well, one guy had a false identity, and he was smuggling gems and drugs and all sorts of stuff through Southeast Asia. We had two other people who were involved with sexually molesting boys, and both of them were male. One got his 600 charges pled down to 200, and he's still serving life in prison.
Yeah.
The other one was a Marine Corps DI, and he is still in prison. So every law enforcement agency has his black sheep, and the Nevada Highway Patrol is no different. But when I with the crew I worked with, I was very proud of working with a lot of the guys. There were some guys that were questionable that I just kind of stayed away from. But overall, I look back on everything that I did as a cop, and I have no regrets. I still think I could do the work still, Jess, but I don't want to do it here because this town is just so corrupt and steeped in corruption. I've been here 49 years. I'm sick of it. I'm really
Yeah.
sick. And I'm sure you're sick of listening to story upon story upon story about corruption, and whether it's cops, whether it's a district attorney, whether it's judges, which all three happen to be involved in my case, and the corruption
Yeah.
is there. So,
It
know,
sucks. Like, who are we supposed to trust? Like, for me, I was so dumbfounded because I worked with the prosecutor, like, side by side. I have been with him on the bench, like, because I ended up being a domestic violence investigator advocate. There we go. I got that fixed. There we go. Got Rachel's daughter. Her name is Alexa, so that's her GoFundMe to help her go to get her nursing degree, because we definitely need nurses in this world.
and we do.
And like, I was so dumbfounded when they arrested him. I was like, because the FBI was involved. I was like, no. There were rumors. There were always rumors, but you have any person in power, there are rumors. And as Rachel said,
Yep.
holy corruption.
Holy corruption.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is everywhere. And it is sad.
Everywhere. And
but I was like, no, it's not true. It's just rumor. It's just speculation. And then he pled no contest or pled guilty. And I was like,
wow.
Like, my stomach dropped out. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
He was tough on domestic violence and like all this stuff. And I'm like, and you were doing this the whole time. And I defended him. Like, I was so angry and so upset. Like, are you kidding me right now? And I think he did like 1 year of house arrest. Obviously, he could not spend time in any prison or jail in Michigan. So it was just like, oh God, it was disgusting. And I was like, I can't believe I defended this guy. Because I thought, nope, he didn't do it. He's an outstanding guy. He's a wonderful guy, very caring. I was dealing with a stalker, and he saw me at the courthouse, and he was like, hey, what's going on? And like, at one time I was up there, they had to lock the courthouse down because my stalker followed me there to harass me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was insane. He's like, how's your aunt, and how's this aunt, and how's your mom doing? Like, I hadn't worked with him for like 7 years, and he remembers my family. And I was like,
I guess there's a
he was unfortunately one of the bad ones that no one thought
Yeah.
was a bad one.
Well,
It
and
was
and Rachel, you're gonna really get it. Well, I don't know if you're gonna get a kick out of this, but I am a former federal whistleblower. When I was a senior state trooper, I was president of the union, and there were acts of crime that started to pop up involving the former director of Department of Public Safety. I won't say his name because we're gonna leave some stuff out in the open for now. We can talk about it in the future. And so we were given information and backed up by evidence, not just conjecture or speculation, backed up by evidence. So what should we do with this? Well, at the time, we thought the best avenue was to take it to the Attorney General for the state of Nevada, who's the top law enforcement in the
yeah.
state, and the governor. Unbeknownst to us, we were walking into a trap. And we walked into that trap on September 5th of 2001, September 6th, 2001. On September 11th of 2001, we all know what
That
happened that
day.
day. We
Yeah.
all know what happened that I was
Oh,
threatened.
I remember where I was when I was getting my hair done actually, and then I had my cousin who was my hairdresser, and I was like, okay, we got to finish up. Let's go. And there was a state police post like 2 blocks away, so I literally ran down there like because I was on the state disaster relief team also at the time, and I was like, where do you need me? What am I doing? Where are we going? Because what's not that well known about Lansing is we have, GM here. We have a lot of GM. Within 24 hours, we can turn around to start producing military vehicles.
Right.
So, and then we have, at the time, it was the only place that was working on an anthrax vaccine. We have that lab here. It's a level 4 lab. So we have all the bad stuff. So Lansing is kind of high on the list. So it was like, okay, what are we doing? Where are we going? And then I just went to the station because it was like, well, we don't know what's going on yet. So yeah, I literally turned on the news and I called my mom, and my mom was angry because it was the last building that her father worked on before he passed away. So
Well,
it was like, oh, yeah.
well, I will say this. Unfortunately, well, I had to make the phone call to my dad and said that we're under attack. And of course, I didn't know my dad had served in Vietnam until after he died. So that he was that much of a black ops spook for the United States Navy. However, on that day, I was threatened with my career as a state trooper with the Highway Patrol because of what I had blown the whistle on. And I was going to be forced into a meeting the following day, September 12th, to discuss the confidential investigation that we were assured of that would be confidential by the Attorney General and the governor. Both of those people turned coattail, turned traitor, and gave the information to the director. And so basically, what I had to do, Jess, is I had to threaten the governor of the state of Nevada at the time. I'll say his name because he's gone now, Kenny Gwynn. I said, if you will allow your director to force me into this meeting tomorrow, I will show up. I will have my Ike jacket pressed. I will have a brand new uniform. I have my felt. And when they say you need to give us the information, I'll say F you, and F you. They will fire me for insubordination, and I will hold a press conference. And the governor apparently made a phone call to the chief of the Highway Patrol at the time, acting chief. And then he called me back, the chief did, and said, well, that meeting you're supposed to take place tomorrow has been postponed. I go, sure it has.
Yeah.
And I mean, I threatened the governor through a very dear friend of mine who's no longer with us as well. He was a retired sergeant with the Nevada Highway Patrol, Gary Wolf. It was like a second dad to me. In fact, after my dad died, he was there night and day for me. And I miss him every day, just like I miss my own father. But he actually was the one who walked over to the governor and said, "Hey, you want this on your plate right now with everything else going on?" And so, anyways, I threatened the governor. I guess I put that feather in my cap.
Yeah.
But they came
By the
after.
way, Rachel, she says we need more like you, and absolutely
Yeah.
we do.
Rachel, thank you very much for that compliment. Unfortunately, it won't be in this state if I decide to continue my career in law enforcement. But I'm getting a little long in the tooth. I don't see any really positiveness unless I go to a small area. And I grew up in a small town. I like to end the last chapter of my life in a small town. Reno, Nevada. I have no love anymore for this place. It's a shithole. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it straight up. It's a shithole. It's being allowed to be overrun by the homeless, and crime is rampant here. It's off the hinges. But anyways, long story short, we were successful eventually in getting that director fired. He didn't retire, as the media reported, because the media is bought and paid for in this town. He was fired.
Yeah.
He was fired, and that's going to come out here soon. And the person who gave that information might want to consider what's taking place around him before this pops smoke on him, and it's going to pop smoke on him. But anyways, so that was just kind of my the end of my situation with law enforcement. I don't like corruption. Rachel, three of us agree right now that do what makes you happy, and only what makes you. What makes me happy is being around people I love and care about, and being around animals I love and care about. There's a lot of people out there that are more family to me that are just friends than my own family.
So there's a saying that friends are the family that you can choose.
Yep.
And I believe that. Like, I have closer ties and bonds with people that are not related by blood than I do with some of my blood relatives, and that's just how it happens, unfortunately.
It is, and it's a difficult situation. I mean, I'm the only child. I don't have any brothers and sisters. Both my parents are gone now. I will say this because of my current legal situation, which we're not going to go into today.
Nope, I'm not allowing you to.
I've lost a marriage. My daughter has disowned me, so basically I don't have any children anymore.
No, she needs time.
I'm sorry, Jess. The time is past for that. She said some pretty reprehensible stuff that I can't forgive.
Well, I can say, as a daughter, I have disowned my parents and ended communication with them a couple of times due to me needing for my own mental health. And I have literally told my father he did not deserve to be my father anymore.
That really sucks.
Because, well, I had my reason. I had breast cancer as a baby. They made the decision to have the cancer removed. At 14, I underwent reconstructive surgery and had a series of surgeries. I was being poisoned by my silicone implant, and I had to have it removed. And they wouldn't support me in removing it. They didn't understand why I couldn't get another one, because I would just get sick again. And my parents made the comment that me having the implant removed was a painful and shameful reminder that they decided to save my life as a baby. And that was it for me. I was not going to have communication, but at Christmas, my dad wrote me a letter. His sister had a stroke last year, and he was like, can we please start over? And they were serious, and I sat down with them, and I was like, here's the ground rules. You have to respect my boundaries, whatever they are.
Right.
If I need a break, a timeout, then that's what it's going to be. And I honestly was never expecting to have any further communication than like my nephew's birthday parties or Christmas. But reading my dad's letter, him apologizing and saying, what can we do to repair this? And I will give them credit. They have been excellent. They have been amazing since then. They apologized. They didn't realize, what they said, like kind of what impact it had on me. And it's crazy.
That's a tough pill to swallow, Jess. I can't say I can relate. Obviously, I can never relate to another person's horrific family situations.
Rachel, I want to say, for most of the beginning of the pandemic, I did not talk to my sister from October of 2019 until like almost August of 2020. And it was just a few words, a text here and there because of what happened with my parents. So I get it. I essentially imploded my entire world in 2 seconds because I was like, nope, if you can't support me and making, it was very painful. And I was like, holy hell, my whole world just
Yeah.
imploded.
Um,
And
I
so that's
we
why I
continue to look at.
say don't cut her off completely. There is always a chance that it could be repaired.
Well,
And I'm going to say that as a child that ended communication with my parents more than once because of things they had done inside.
our communication now has gone on pushing 3 years. I
Yep.
eventually will be getting out of Reno, and that will pretty much. I hear what you're saying. A lot of people have said the same thing to me, Jess. But uh, I guess I grew up in a different time with different morals and ethics that my parents taught me, and my teachers taught me, and my mentors taught me.
Yep. You're
I
older Gen X.
I don't I can't wrap my head around the reason why she said the words she said to me. She has said
Yeah.
repeated words, and I was willing to forgive and forget up until a point, and I hate to say this, but I've gone past that point. I don't see any resolution, and like I said, eventually I'll be out of Reno, and that will pretty much cement the deal. If she wants to do anything, I'm not going to meet her halfway. She has to come pretty much all the way to me because
I get that.
I didn't do anything to facilitate the treatment that I received for her stepfather. So my first wife, that's who I had a child with. She met her boyfriend. They moved to Texas. They said they were going to take Alyssa.
Hold on, time out. So Rachel doesn't talk to your sister because of words.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was in domestic violence, finally got out. Your sister said that you deserved it?
Oh wow.
Oh.
Well, see,
Oh no.
that's well, Jess, you're hearing words right there as where you did your job. That's one you don't return from. I'm
That
sorry.
is definitely Rachel. If you need a sister, I'm here. I'm a couple hours away.
Yeah, so there you go, Rachel, and it's sad that we
Yeah,
three of
that
us are
was.
sharing stories like this, but it seems to be a
Oh,
prevailing theme with a lot of people across this country, and they're just it's I don't know. You can't explain reprehensible human conduct like that because it's an inherent part of evil. It's bred into your system. I'm a church going person. I haven't gone to church the last couple of weeks because I've been so exhausted from work and other stuff going on with this legal case. But uh, if you don't have God in your heart, you're dead out of turn because it is bearing down to the classic good versus evil across this country, and we've seen it. You've seen it, Jess. I'm sure Rachel's.
yeah.
We've seen it every day. It's getting worse.
Rachel is my new sister.
Yeah,
Awesome.
there you go. Better have her over for Thanksgiving. um,
We
yeah,
don't know. We normally don't know until a few days before Thanksgiving what's going on between the two sides of the family. So,
well, let's tell you what. Let's not even wait that far. Let's do 4th of July. That's right around the corner.
heck yeah.
Yeah. So I'll tell you the story from since you're from Michigan. So I got the opportunity when I was the Highway Patrol to go to the National Law Enforcement Memorial and talk about. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in my days, a lot of it. So I'm sure you have too, Rachel. I'm sure
Yeah.
you have.
Oh yeah.
I have
We all
never,
have.
nor will I ever think I've ever seen some of the scenarios that I saw at that law enforcement memorial. It was mind-boggling. But we went to the FOP every night. It was where everybody went after the ceremonies of the day and
Hmm.
and there's thousands of cops there, thousands. Um,
Wow.
and they had the every night they had the Highlander, the Scottish. The Highlander march. Oh my God! Talk
Mhm.
about fife and drums. We're off the hook. So there was a group of us from Nevada. We met up with some guys from Oklahoma and some guys from New Hampshire and some guys from where else? Florida. And then just as coincidence, there was these two girls standing over by the bar, and we said, "Hey, come on over, join the club." So we started talking to them. Well, one of the girls uh, was a Michigan State Trooper. And so, it's cops talk about cops and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, and I
Talk
can't
shop.
remember her name for the life of me. I can't remember. I knew her last name, and I'm going to tell you here in a second. I said, well, what got you into law enforcement? Because we're all talking about having drinks and,
Yeah.
sharing our stories. She goes, well, my brother got me into law enforcement, and he was a Michigan State Trooper. I go, oh, he retired. She goes, no, was killed in a car accident. That guy broadside him in an intersection. Byron Igalski. I remember that name, and I sent it to you earlier today.
Yes, you did.
Yep. You know, the scary thing, not scary thing, the insane thing is the guy that hit him and killed Trooper Igalski was killed by a drunk driver the following year. Yeah. So,
whoa, talk about karma.
Yeah. So when she said that story, it like all of our jaws just dropped because we're thinking, okay, well, she got in law enforcement, just her big brother. She goes, no, I got into law enforcement to honor my brother's memory. And I will always be a Michigan State Trooper. I will honor his memory. And then she told the story of her brother. And I tell you what, you want to see a bunch of cops sit around and cry?
Yeah.
That we sat around and cried. And we hoisted drinks to her and her brother, Byron. And I tell you what, I could not have ever thought of a more emotional roller coaster than that weekend I spent in Washington, D.C.
I've never been. I really want to go. I want to go to the Smithsonian. I'm a nerd.
Yeah, Carmen is a bitch. But, you know, the kid was only 17 years old. I don't know. See, Trooper Igalski and his partner were rolling to back up another trooper. And I guess they blew the intersection. You know, cops do that when they're trying to get somewhere quick. And maybe the kid didn't know, inexperienced driver. There's a lot of ifs that came into it. The state trooper's car caught on fire, and there's another guy there that put the fire out and saved the passenger's life. But Trooper Igalski was dead on impact, I guess, and he died. He subsequently passed away at the hospital. But to hear that story from his sister was, to this day, it touches my heart.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's still a Michigan State Trooper. I wonder if she remembers talking to me that night. There was a group of us, and I'm the one who asked her the questions about, well, what got you into law enforcement? My brother, and we weren't prepared for what she was going to say. And she was with another girl, both pretty girls. And we just sat there, and our jaw, I mean, literally all the guys, they were all guys except for those two girls, our jaws just dropped. And then we started crying.
What year was this?
It was late 90s, like let's say 98, 99 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'll have to go up to the headquarters and ask and tell her you said hi.
Yeah, tell her she remembers
still around.
The crazy old Nevada. There was two state troopers from Nevada, and at that point we're well into our fourth round or fifth round of cocktails, and we bought the girls drinks the rest of the night. It was just amazing to hear that story and touches my heart. I hope she's still, if she is, boy, she's got to be put on.
She's probably retired, probably.
Yeah. She's retired, I believe. And I wonder if she remembers me. I wonder if she does. It would be I'd be very curious to remember, because I asked the questions, she told the story, and it was just, jaws on the floor. Definitely. It was. I mean, we were pretty well under the influence. Thank God we weren't driving. And I mean, to watch, I mean, I looked at all the guys standing beside me, and they're
like, how do I react?
Yeah, the nutty one from Nevada. Well, Rachel, you're right. It was the nutty one from Nevada, but there's two of us, and we're both nutty. Chuck Fox was the other trooper. He's gone.
I have to say this. You're not quite right in the head if you want to become a police officer. As they said in the academy, the line between cop and criminal is very fine, because you have to think like a criminal in order to be a good cop.
And unfortunately,
it's really easy to cross that line.
They cross the line. Yeah, they crossed the line, and that's why I'm facing what I'm facing right now. Again, we're not going to talk about, but there's a. I'm sure you've heard of this before. There's the deadly
join the party, Rachel.
Yeah,
she's definitely bonkers, so she's joining the party.
There's the commandments. I can't remember the exact number of commandments we had from Nevada Highway Patrol, but one of the commandments was tombstone courage. And I want to tell this story because I want people to remember who this man was, and how much of an impact he did with a short time he was a state trooper of Highway Patrol. His name was Carlos Borland. He was
Borland?
Carlos Borland.
Borland. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go from a touching story to a tragic story, and I don't like to dwell on it, but if people understand what you just said about being a cop, they got to understand a lot of things, and a lot of things is that sixth sense perception that
Mm-hmm.
that just because you put a uniform on and a badge on does not make you Superman.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow you to do things that are against the law. It doesn't allow you to do a lot.
Correct.
You have to be humbled. You have to be contrite. You have to be sympathetic. You have to be a family counselor. You have to be maybe sometime an EMT like you.
Oh.
You have to be
Oh yeah. Yeah.
wearing many hats. I tell this story because it touches my heart again, like Trooper Legowski's sister did. Like I said, I hope you can find her. And if not, that's okay. But Carlos was a cadet. He worked in the Reno office, and he and I kind of started, kind of glued to each other. He wanted to go for ride-alongs. He wanted to go with me. I was working swing shift, and we went on a few ride-alongs. And I tried to instill in him about, what it takes to be a trooper. And I said, Carlos, just because you get accepted in the academy doesn't mean you're going to pass it. He goes, well, you're trying to drum me out of the Corps. I go, no. I said, you got to understand something. You got to go out there and give it 100% all the time.
Yeah.
So Carlos was a Gulf War veteran, first Gulf War,
Whew.
and he
That's a different breed right there.
yeah, he was walking tall. He was a tough guy, he's a tough kid, and he had this chip on his shoulder. The girls fell head over heels. He was a handsome kid, and I said, dude, you got to remember something now. I said, this job comes with a lot of perks. Don't use that badge to try and think you're going to be one of those guys that is going to get badge bunnies, because you can, because you're good
Oh
looking.
yeah.
Yes. Anyways, he graduated academy, got stationed in a remote duty station, Lovelock, outside about 90 miles east of Reno. And one night I was working swing, and he came in the office. He had a vehicle pursuit, and two guys had jumped out of the car and ran off in the desert. Now this is dark time. And the desert out in Nevada is bleak in the daytime. At night is deadly.
Yeah.
So he chased these guys out in the desert, and not knowing that whether these guys are armed or not or anything. And he basically got both of them in cuffs. He fought with both of them, and he was tough. Like I said, he was a tough guy. He wasn't no pushover. And he came traipsing in the office, proud as proud can be. Hey man, hey Stu, did you hear about this? I said, sit down. I sit down. I go, what the hell is the matter with you, Carlos? He goes, what are you talking about? I go, did you understand some of the stuff that we talked about when you rode along with me? How about in the academy? Do you remember the phrase tombstone courage? And he goes, well, yeah. I go, and what did you just do? You just violated one of those commandments by going after these two guys. Where were they going to go, Carlos? The desert? Where? There was nothing out there. They were in a stolen car. We get that, but why not wait for backup? Why not wait till the sun comes up? They're not going anywhere. There's no place to go out in the middle of nowhere. They're going to come back. And he goes, but I got him, Stu. I got him. I go, Carlos, I says, you effed up. And I said, don't ever F up again. And I yelled at him. I screamed at him. And he was, I didn't mean to upset you. I'm sorry. I go, just listen to what I was so angry, Jess. Oh. So, this is going to take a bit. About 2 months later, we had a report of a gas skip in Trinity, which is near Lovelock.
So just so people explain what a gas skip is.
Gas skip is you go in, you pump gas, and you don't pay for it. Now, in my academy, a gas skip was considered a high-risk stop, which means you don't stop someone without backup, or you're drawing your duty weapon to order people out of the car at gunpoint.
It's a felony stop.
Yeah, felony stop, because 9.999 times out of 10, there's always a crime associated with a gas skip.
Yeah.
Well, the gas skippee was a gentleman by the name of Michael Sonner. Michael Sonner was an escaped prisoner from South Carolina. He had driven all the way across country. He had stopped in Texas and shot and killed 2 people in a convenience store. He got all the way to California. He was on his way back across the country, and he gas skipped in Trinity. Carlos Borland was on duty in Lovelock. Carlos Borland got the report of the car. The license plate that was on the car, the car was stolen. The license plate on the car was stolen, but not reported stolen yet. but it matched the description of the car. So the criminal was smart enough to steal a plate off a car that was similar in description to the car he was driving, which was stolen.
That's a smart criminal, honestly.
Yeah. Carlos got the Bolo, the ATL, spotted the car, pulled the car over, walked up on the car, and leaned in, and Michael Sonner had a revolver and shot him in the forehead. So I was off duty when I got the call of a trooper officer down, and I call up dispatch. I go, "What's going on?" Says we need all available Reno troopers to respond to Washoe Medical Center, which is now renowned. We got a trooper coming in, being care flighted in, life flighted. Who's the trooper? Carlos Borland. So I threw my gear on, my uniform back on, got down to the hospital. There's tons of people there, tons of people. I mean, I couldn't even get in the ER room, and that's where Carlos was. So I'm standing outside, and I see a friend of mine who I known through another friend who was a disc jockey here in Reno, and he saw me. He goes, "Stu." I go, "Jim." I go, "What are you doing?" And I saw he had a flight suit on, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, we just brought your trooper in." I said, "You care flighted?" Because they didn't use the helicopter at night. It was really windy. They brought him in on fixed wing aircraft.
Oh.
And I said, "Jim, how bad?" His head. So Carlos died about 30 minutes later. We went on a manhunt for this guy. I can remember everything almost to this day vividly, and this is back in 1993. So we mustered at the chief of the highway patrols at the Washoe Medical Center. He said, "I want everybody at the office ready to go in less than an hour," and everybody was there. We went out to Code 3. It was a battalion of squad cars, NHP squad cars, to Lovelock. We went out to Lovelock as fast as those cars could go. We got there, we mustered up, 4-man to a car. I was assigned to a car with the senior troopers, and one young trooper was driving the car. And we were the first. So Lieutenant Davis was a friend of mine, personally and professionally. He was my he's my commander, an urban commander. And he goes, "I'm sending you guys out in the first car. I want you to go out Coal Canyon Road," which is a road that is just east of Lovelock. Carlos was shot within the city limits of Lovelock, which is, again, a small community just east of Reno. Because I want you guys going out Coal Canyon Road. 4-man to a car. We turned up Coal Canyon Road, and just to this day, I remember the hair in the back of my neck stood up. I go, "Stop the car. Stop the car." So we stopped. I go, "Boys, you went up this road." He goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, he went up this road."
Hey, just do it.
I go, "He went up this road."
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to say something here, but I says, so here's the deal. I want everybody in this car to understand this, and you better understand what I have to say next. I want everybody sworn their badge and their commission number. If we find this guy, we are not taking him in alive. We're going to kill him. You understand me? There is no surrender. There is no, I give up. There's none of that. He puts his hands here. We drop him. I said, if you people don't agree in this car right now, I'm getting out and walking back to Reno. So they all agreed. So we went up Coal Canyon Road. And the further we got up Coal Canyon Road, the further the hair in the back of my neck stood up. I said, this son of a bitch has gone up this road. He's gone up this road. And lo and behold, when the pavement turned to dirt, we found fresh tire marks. And I go, I told you you went up this road. Well, we got to a T intersection. We got to a T intersection. To the right went to Dixie Valley, which is a remote area in the central part of Nevada. To the left, it went to Battle Mountain. And I looked, we got out of the car. We stood there just for like 20 minutes. I go, which way do you think he went? We kept looking left. We kept looking right. I didn't make the decision. I just think, well, we have to have a consensus opinion. Do we go left? Do we go right? We went left. He had gone right. So we got to Battle Mountain, and we actually, going up that road, we disabled the squad car, bent the front axle going over. I mean, we hit a bump at like 80 miles an hour, bent the front axle. Eventually, we found out that he had gone to Dixie Valley. The highway patrol airplane was in the air and spotted him. He started shooting at the airplane. Oh, the Reno Police Department
stupid.
Yeah, with a revolver. The Reno Police Department Laredo Police Department SWAT team was deployed. Now, one of the guys was one of the best sharpshooters I could ever think of, Terry Naughton. He was on the SWAT team. This guy could shoot a fly off a ledge at 200 yards. That's how good he was. So what happened was Sonner was out in the middle. He drove the car out. It got stuck in the sand. It got disabled, and he only had a flashlight with him. That's all he had.
What?
And so it got dark and it got cold. So they were able. So he somehow, some way, he had something. Oh, he had a flare in the car. He started a campfire. So the SWAT team saw him. They green lighted him.
You don't do a fight. Oh my Lord.
Yeah. So they green lighted him, and at the moment that Terry Naughton was pulling the trigger on his rifle and had zeroed him in, he flashed a flashlight towards where the sniper was, and as Terry Naughton pulled the trigger, the flashlight got into his night vision and he blinded him eventually. He pulled the shot to the right and missed him, and then he threw his hands in the air. Oh. So they took him in, and we surrounded the ambulance because they were going to take him in the ambulance.
Yeah.
And I got close as they were bringing him in on a gurney. They got him on a gurney after they got him out of the hills.
You can actually control. You can control someone a lot on a gurney, honestly. Yeah.
And I reached in.
Tie him down a lot.
And Captain Farmer reached back and grabbed the back of my scruff of my neck because I was going to kill him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I draw my hand back and I was going to throw punch him. And Captain Farmer goes, "You really want to do that in your career?" I says, "I don't care." Yeah, you do. He pulled me back. So, anyways, to this day, Michael Sonner's still on death row in Nevada. I wish Texas had extradited him because he'd be dead by now. Carlos has been gone since 1993. His parents, I believe, are still alive. Jimmy and Maria Borland, just down to earth type people. I say this story to basically kind of put a finishing thing, I guess, on today's event. But I will say this: it takes a special person to do what you've done, Rachel. What you do, what a lot of people do. It takes an extra special person to get into the law enforcement profession, and I will dissuade people from it because right now, you've got a target on your back, and it's bad enough that we have people that have killed Carlos, killed other law enforcement people in the line of duty, but then you've got people actually hunting and actively hunting cops.
Yes, yeah.
And so why risk yourself for whatever pay? If he would have went down 100 miles an hour on the hill that Rachel, they actually walked him down the hill, and then they gave him the consideration of putting him on the gurney because he said he was tired.
Oh, hell no.
That's why he was on the gurney. There's a lot of things that stick in my mind.
My gurney would have been broken.
Yeah. I could listen to your stories all day. I've got plenty of stories, Rachel, but I don't want to take up a lot of people's time. I'll just say that it takes special people to do that stuff. The normal working public to go to the 9 to 5 bankers. I'm not counting out bankers or accountants or any job in the public sector. I'm just saying the people that put themselves in harm's way to save others and take
knowing the risk,
special, whether
they're a special kind of special. We're a little bit crazy.
Yeah. We have to be a little bit crazy because you never know. You could be the EMT responding to, and it's happened where medical personnel have been shot and killed, where legal personnel have been shot and killed by these crazy out of control people. You don't know when your number's up. There's a song by Nickelback, "If Today Was Your Last Day." Boy, I tell you what, if you listen to the lyrics of that song, it could, you don't know when your number's up. You just don't know.
No, you don't.
I say, live life to your best. Don't get involved in a situation where you risk your family or your own life just because you want to put a badge on your shirt, just because you want to strap a gun belt around your waist, just because you want to put a bulletproof vest on, just because you want to, I think more likely than not, the medical profession is one to go into But then again, if you're exposing yourself as an EMT or paramedic, you may be going into a dangerous situation. Shit, you
Yeah.
could get shot in the hospital transporting. You don't know.
In Detroit, if you wear a uniform, you are fair game.
Yeah.
I have never like having firemen come in with gunshot wounds from responding to a fire. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I was like, no, what is going on in this world? Like, that's why, like, when I left, it was like when I was forced out of medicine, I struggled with it because it was like I can help so many people, but it's now like the woman that hit me. It was like, does she realize how many millions of people's lives that she may have put
Well,
in harm's way?
she could have, you're lucky you survived that. Not many, a head on collision. Think about the combined speed of impact at the time. How fast were you going?
We were under 20 miles an hour, and she was slowed down to about 20 because it
You're lucky.
was
That's a 40-mile-an-hour impact speed.
yeah. I went up over the airbag, smashed the windshield. I have a flat spot on my forehead where my hair doesn't grow from smashing the
Yeah.
windshield. It literally is still flat.
Yeah. I see it.
I have the left frontal lobe is atrophied about half the size it should be. My pituitary gland is completely gone. I had a C1, C2 fracture, and then it was C4 through, I don't know, I don't remember the thoracic, and then my entire lumbar spine was fractured. And I pulled myself out of the car somehow. I don't remember doing it. I remember looking at my friend going, how do I call 911? And then next thing I know, I was sitting on the sidewalk and I was yelling at him, let me finish my cigarette because we were going to a going away party. Our friend was joining the military. And I said, I'm not going to get to have a beer tonight. So let me finish my cigarette. We're not going anywhere. Like it was different. It was, now I understand. I've had patients
Yeah.
in that situation. Like I get it. All I could tell them was they kept asking me like what hurt. And I was like, my chest is broken. And I've heard that from patients before, and then it was like afterwards, I was like, I understand what they were going through. Like I totally get it now that I've been there. But yeah, I wasn't able to go back to work. I was having 30-minute drive into work, and I was having to go into an on-call room and go to sleep because it was too taxing. And like I'd walk out of an exam room and I'd be like, wait, what was I just doing? Like, and I
Yeah.
look at my notes and I was like, I'm a risk to my patients. Like, I can't do this. And my boss was sad to see me go, but I was like, I can't. I'm no longer safe. Like I'm putting people's lives at risk, so therefore I can't do my job anymore effectively. So let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
You obviously are familiar with the SovSit movement. Are you aware of like First Amendment auditors?
I've heard of it. I'm not a sovereign citizen uh, person. I won't be a sovereign citizen person. I think that that's a road that doesn't need to be traveled. You
Yeah.
can be a person that believes in the Constitution, but the sovereign citizen stuff is a very sketchy area for me. I don't like it. I never have. I know a lot of people have tended to go in towards that. But why not be a citizen that represents the Constitution as it's written, and be one of those people that are a believer in the Constitution, not sovereign citizenship, because that's like a fringe group, and a lot of
Yeah.
the people that belong to that group, I disagree with. I just flat out disagree. So, sorry, I don't agree with your ideologies or your theories or
Yeah.
your positions. We can do more as a solid group of U.S. constitutional backed citizens,
Yes.
that believe in the Constitution, that wants the Constitution to be enforced the way it was written some 300 years ago or 200 years ago. I can't remember now. 300 years almost now, and
Yeah.
go that route. There's those amendments in that Constitution are still supposed to be adhered to this day, and when you have people that decide to rewrite the Constitution or say the Constitution, well, you know what? Uh, unfortunately, that's a really piss poor opinion, because this thing still is there for us to abide by, and it's written with good language. So
Yeah.
the First Amendment auditors, I've only heard of that, but First Amendment is a very important part of your speech. Obviously, as you
Yeah.
all know, you cannot
Yes.
use the First Amendment to threaten people. You cannot use the First Amendment to harass, bully, intimidate. You can
Yep.
use the First Amendment to express your opinions if they are not of a threatening or dangerous type scenario. And if you
Yeah.
start spewing that stuff, your First Amendment is gone. It just is. You abide by the
Hello,
rules.
Laura.
Okay?
Laura is here.
Hello, Laura. Hey, Laura, Michigan is here. Yep.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
and thank you, Rachel, for being well said. Um, I don't necessarily consider myself. My English teacher just said, Mr. Handte, your diction and your grammatical context is not up to par. I said, oh, so that means I don't get an A in your class, Mrs. Leonard's? She goes, no, you don't get an A. I'm really reluctantly to give you a B. I go, but years ago or years later, I ran into her. She became a councilwoman for the city of Reno. And she's, well,
Nice.
I was a parking lot attendant for Harris Casino, and she just happened to be coming out of the show. And I go, Mrs. Leonard. She goes, Mr. Handte. I go, God damn, she remembered me. And I says, do I still get to earn that B in your class? She goes, I really had to struggle giving you a B. I go, why? She goes, because you're such a smart ass. I said, well, I should have deserved an A. She goes, well put. She goes, but she goes, I still stick with the grade I gave you. So she's gone. She's been long gone now. But I remember Mrs. Leonard. She's our senior cut day. We walked into class late. We're going now, Jess, we're going back to 1978. And she goes, gentlemen, you're late to class. Well, we're all drunk. So we're out in the park lot drinking orange juice and vodka because it was senior cut day. And so we're all sitting there. And of course, that me being the smart ass, I says, well, Mrs. Leonard's, according to my clock, we're really goddamn late. She goes, that's it. To the principal's office. Say, no, I think we'll go back to parking lot, drink some more booze. That's all he said. I didn't say that statement. I said,
I think Rachel got it right. She said, smart ass Stewart.
yeah. But I never was. My parents taught me. I knew the right time to be a smart ass, but not cross the line.
Yeah.
And if I was such a really bad smart ass, Rachel, I don't think Mrs. Leonard's would have commingled with me that night that I brought her where we came out in the parking lot area of Harris Casino. But she had a smile on her face, and we smiled each. That was the last time I saw her. She passed away a few years after that. But I look back and reflect on a lot of stuff. Yeah, there's a time and place to be a smart ass, Rachel, and there's a time and place to keep your mouth shut. And I've learned through trial and error of both instances where I probably should have kept my mouth shut. I probably should not have been a smart ass. But right.
No one to cross that line. Yeah. Yep.
Yep. But anyways, it bears mentioning because I, of course, as cops, you have that little cocky, arrogant type atmosphere around you. And I can't say I didn't do some things. Sometimes I went, I should have just kept my mouth shut.
Yeah.
But
I think we all have those moments.
Yeah. For the most part, I was professional. I conducted myself professional because I had a strict upbringing. And my dad told me on the day I graduated, and it sticks with me to this day, June 6th, 1984, he goes, son, you put that badge on to serve and protect, not to self-serve and take advantage.
Yep. So I want to play this video here. I've edited it down from the original just to cut out some of the dead air. This is a First Amendment auditor or Fourth Amendment auditor, an auditor. He actually lives not that far from me. He's here in Michigan. Let's see here. I want your take on this as a former law enforcement yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So they're at a bank recording.
Okay.
Just to set it up. And this is up north, so it's a smaller county. It's Presque Isle County, which is up in the very, very tip of Michigan, just below the bridge.
Okay.
So very rural. not going to have very many officers on. So, like I said, they're outside the bank and they're on the sidewalk, which is technically
I got
public
the mirrored
property.
glass in this one.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I don't like how they act.
Right.
Their
Isn't that
behavior.
fancy? They put up mirrored glass. Yeah.
They definitely push buttons on purpose, trying to create a problem. In my opinion.
The lady that was in this front office just went storming towards the back.
Yeah.
She was over here.
Well, what are they trying to accomplish here? Are they trying to do something? Trying to stir something here?
They're executing their First Amendment rights. So they believe that because you have a camera, you're media, and the media can kind of record anywhere.
Well, that's.
No, I don't need any help, thanks.
That.
Because that's why I bought a camera.
Well, just because you have a camera doesn't make you. You have to have media credentials.
Oh well, that's my business.
Yeah.
I'm not on your property. You don't have no right to ask me to leave. Thanks.
Which is true.
Right.
As Rachel says, copying and trying to start shit. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is, they are trying to get a reaction.
That's
She
it.
said she's going to have to ask me to leave.
We've watched this clip before here on my channel, but
that's what I told her. I'm not on your property. You've got no right to ask me to leave.
Which is true. But what are they? What is their position there? Why are they there?
they like to say that they're trying to educate. But the thing is, well, you'll see, they don't educate at all.
They're antagonistic, is what they are.
Yeah, like if they were to say, like, oh, it's, our First Amendment right, or this amendment, we can do this.
No,
so I'm just exercising my right.
No nefarious purpose.
See, having to reassure customers that there's no nefarious purpose.
That's a big college word. I wonder if you can spell it.
It wasn't safe.
See, yeah, why are they there?
Exactly.
But they won't say
that. I live in Monroe.
They like to say, we don't have to answer, we don't answer questions.
Well, okay, so to me, right
5-0.
there. Oh, there we go. Well, yeah. I would have called too because I have suspicious circumstances going on.
Exactly. That's the thing. People, why are you filming inside of a bank? People that film inside of a bank would possibly be trying to, learn information to rob them.
Do a drive-by.
Yeah, that's a little bit suspicious.
Oh, that guy's on a radio.
Well, and I don't like how they talk.
Huh.
They are not respectful at all.
Well, it's kind of got a Michael Myers-esque. Remember Michael Myers in Halloween?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an undercover car. You can see the lights on his rear view mirror there.
Yeah.
And we're going to pay attention to this guy. This guy is something. This is gonna get you hot. I can tell you that much.
Yep.
It's gonna make your blood boil.
You in here? What are you doing? Sir, back the fuck up. Or what? Who do you think you are? I think I'm a detective. I'm just coming. So what is that?
He's a detective. Okay.
So what is that? Oh, I know who you guys are. Why are you out here filming the bank?
And yeah, law enforcement, they do know who they are.
Because that's use the discovery of a crime. Then kick rocks, public servant.
What? Where'd you come up with that one?
Get your teeth fixed.
Oh my! See, look at that right there.
Yeah, why? Why? I don't understand that.
When you're encountering the public. I really don't care what you're doing. You don't care, huh? No. But you parked your car to come over here and talk, right? Yeah. Okay, so you cared enough then, huh? I cared enough. Okay. So
I cared enough to inquire.
You came over here, did I?
Yeah.
You caused the scene out here.
We didn't cause anything.
No.
Get your facts right, dummy.
No,
we didn't cause anything.
Yeah. They have to
I can call you dummy all I want. Are you threatening me?
Shut that camera off. You're a pig, boy. You're a pig, a fat pig at that. That's all you can do.
Yep.
Here, I got something for you.
Go ahead, take it off.
Here you go.
No, this part actually kind of makes me laugh.
Put it on your dashboard. It's like Duck Duck Jeep for cops.
Apparently it's a little piggy figurine. It's kind of funny.
I have plenty more of them too.
That's exactly it, Rachel.
Yeah,
Exactly it.
exactly,
Detective.
Rachel. Starting crap, hoping for a payday.
Detective.
Yeah, detective.
You speak English well?
Sure do.
Some of it.
But you come out being a dick, so you're a detective.
Can we get a complaint?
The only dick is you, motherfucker. Sorry. Didn't mean to use
Yep.
that way.
Nope.
Yep.
You can swear. It's not
Ain't nobody
aggressively.
filming.
No?
Not me.
No.
Yep.
What do you got that
They
thing on my
don't. They
face?
don't
for?
have the
Whoa,
same right.
fucking hand out of my pocket.
Or what?
You want to go down?
No?
No.
What do you got that thing on my face for?
Whoa, your fucking hand out of my pocket.
Or what?
Yeah.
You want to go down on the ground, buddy?
Let's go.
You don't get to touch
Do
people.
it. Do it. Let's
Just
do
'cause
it.
you have
You're
a badge
filming it.
doesn't
It'll
mean
be
you
a
get to
lot of
touch
fun.
people.
Do it.
What's your name and badge number?
My name is Detective Joseph Mocha. My badge number is 830.
Cool, you'll be getting a complaint in a little bit.
Oh, boy.
Go.
Jackass.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Why? What are
They-
you going to
they are
do?
just
You're
out
going to
there
try to make money.
You gonna
off
violate
of
my
it.
rights? You gonna violate my rights, punk?
Oh,
How's it going, officer?
Punk. Punk.
It's going.
How's your
Rachel's
day?
correct on this. He came
No,
out
we don't need
hot.
any help.
He came out hot, and that's not good.
Fucking bitch. Do something. You're going to sit here and do something. Shut it up.
We're just standing on public property. You
I
know,
know.
we're not doing anything illegal.
No, you're not. No, that's
Okay.
not true.
I know. But
You just violated
Could I get your name and badge
It's
number,
better.
sir?
You just violated his Let me
What's
get your
that?
name and badge
Could I
number.
get your
gave
name
you
and badge
mine.
number, please?
Yeah, it's Chief Jamie Meyer, Rogers City.
Cool.
Badge number 81.
Thank you, sir.
Let
And
me
you
get
can
your
shut
badge
the hell
police
up.
from that city
Why won't
and
you
a
give me your
detective
number?
from the
Your name.
county.
Give me
Because
your
I don't
name.
have to.
Drunk? Because you don't have to.
Yeah. How much you been drinking
Are
today?
you intoxicated? Do
You're
something.
right,
Do
Rachel.
something. Get my face, pig.
You're
Coward.
violating his personal
Coward.
space, man. You should
Are you
really
gonna
back
touch me?
up.
No, because you're a coward. No. Because you're a coward. No. Because you're a coward.
Oh,
Now that dude,
Let's go, Joe.
yep. You pushed it. Yep.
I don't think the detective touched him.
You didn't touch him.
I don't think he did because he kind of fell back. Ah! I honestly don't. We can rewind that a little bit. How do I rewind?
Bye bye, detective.
Let's go, Joe.
There.
Let me get
What's
your
that?
name and badge
Could I
number.
get your
gave
name
you
and badge
mine.
number, please?
Yeah, it's Chief Jamie Meyer, Rogers City.
Cool.
Badge number 81.
I
Thank
have
you,
a
sir.
problem with
And you
Get
can
your
it.
shut
badge
the hell up.
number.
You should have pulled that
Why won't you
detective
give me
out of
your
that
number or your
situation.
name?
Said, no,
Give me
get
Because
your
I
out
don't
of
have
here.
to.
He's the
Because
chief.
you don't have to.
Yeah. How much you been drinking today?
Yeah, you should have pulled him out.
Do something. Do something. Get my face, pig.
You're
Coward.
violating his
There and
personal
let it
space,
happen.
man. You
Are
should
you
really
gonna
back
touch me?
up.
No, because you're a coward. No. Because you're a coward. No. Because you're a coward.
Let's go, Joe.
Oh, he did.
He
He never
does.
touched him. Never touched him.
Yeah, he
Never
didn't.
touched
He
him.
didn't. I don't think he did. Although I do think he tried to stick his hand in the one guy's pocket
Right.
to give him back that figurine.
So you have these people
Even,
that are.
even a random stranger was like, "Watch your mouth" to those guys.
Yeah. So you've got these people.
Bye bye, detective.
Yeah.
Get out of here, you piece of shit coward.
These people are antagonists. They're
Yeah.
out to cause problems. They had no business.
Oh, yeah.
What was their business?
You're all talk,
Yeah,
dude.
exactly,
All
Rachel.
that shit.
Didn't touch
Please
them.
come over here.
What was their purpose?
Yeah, that's all
They're-
you care about. You don't
Yeah.
care about
Cause
protect and serve.
problem.
Nope, just intimidate and collect.
Well, he did.
The
I have to
chief
say
was
for
nice
the
enough.
detective, he did the smart thing
Of
to
the
get
city
out of there.
police.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
chief, that
I think
chief
he was
should
putting
have
the pig back in my pocket.
got him out of
But
there a
that's
lot
beside the point.
faster.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't
if
get
you
to reach
couldn't
in my
control
pocket.
him, you call the sheriff. You know he's got the sheriff's number. You call that sheriff and be like, "Get your detective out of here."
Huh, no CAD.
Yeah, of course the chief
Just
of police
radio.
isn't going to have it. Why?
Yeah. What's their purpose?
Now,
Yeah,
if
exactly
you
right.
want to watch a channel that does that's an auditor that does it
Boy,
right,
that detective was a
Ironton
hot.
auditors. And like, in my opinion, Terry does it right. He stands back. He doesn't get involved. He just records the interactions. You know, he's on good terms with the police department. He's just there recording what the
You're
police
on
do.
state bank.
You know, he does not get involved. He doesn't antagonize anybody.
But here's my situation. Okay, let's take it to a different
That's pretty
level.
sad that the chief of the local police.
Okay.
They're outside a bank.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that right there, in and of itself, is a cause of concern because you don't know. Are these people
Yes.
kicking the bank? Are they
Exactly.
trying to start something as a diversionary tactic? There's a lot of things that come into play. Now, if it was just like I don't know, a convenience store or something,
Different.
okay. So somebody's outside a convenience store. It still would have said, "Hey, what are you doing?" Now,
Yeah.
you're right. They're on public property. That's as far as it goes, Jess. I mean,
Yeah.
but you're outside a bank and you're acting suspicious, and people are saying, "Hey, listen, these guys out there, what are they filming? Why are they filming? Who
Yeah,
are they
like
filming?"
they're literally filming in the drive-through, the big plate glass window that's the drive-through that they have to be able to see. They're filming people taking transactions, like
Well,
doing
and
like
that
why
could be considered some sort of attempted identity theft.
something,
Well, something, yeah.
but a lot of departments they don't interact with them. They shouldn't. They should not. They should de-escalate the situation.
Well, you could
Period.
de-escalate it, but then you could say, "Listen, you're acting in a suspicious manner." Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
there's no reason for it.
You're acting in a suspicious manner. I, as a commissioned law enforcement officer, have a duty to investigate suspicious circumstances. Therefore, if you continue to do what you're doing, I'm going to have to ask for your identity. And if you refuse, then I'm going to have to place you in detention or under arrest until I find out exactly what you're trying to accomplish here.
And they've done that, and actually, law enforcement officers have gotten in trouble for doing that because
Well,
and in reality, are they actually doing anything dangerous? No.
no, it's suspicious.
It's
Not dangerous.
suspicious. Yeah. They're
Suspicious. So,
creepy and rude. Laura
yeah,
said it. They are creepy and rude. Yes.
they
I
are
would
creepy.
be like,
There's no
they
law.
will. People will say, why are you filming?
Yeah.
To educate. Okay. But they
Educate,
don't say
educate who?
what. They're like, oh, the cops are going to come give this education. They're going to tell them that we're okay. And it's like, no, if you were truly trying to educate, you would explain what you were doing.
You would explain what you're doing, and you would provide some sort of documented evidence to show that in prior instances, we filmed and we offered, I don't know, let's just say we offered a video at a town hall presentation where we served refreshments to educate the public on what can and can't be done. Okay. There's an education process right there. They don't do that. Okay. They don't do that. And Laura, there's no law against being creepy and rude, but there is an avenue for law enforcement to investigate suspicious circumstances. It's
And
like,
the thing is with how underfunded right now, like I get the whole defund the police. That's not to reduce officers, but they just don't have staff, and so I understand why they're like, no, leave it alone.
we got better
Because
things
a
to do.
lot of times, most of the time that I've seen, these guys are trying to get a reaction.
Right.
And that is exactly what happened at this time. And that detective is wrong. He is so wrong.
Because he's probably from the old school.
Yep.
He's probably not used to
definitely.
having these type of people interact with him. As like we talked about the other day, where when I pulled over my first constitutionalist, and I'm not bashing. Again, we talked about Constitution earlier. Where I said I need to see your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. Where he says I'm not driving. I said, what? And I went, what? What do you mean not driving? Who's driving then? I'm not a driver. I go, okay, what are you? I'm a traveler. No, I'm up against one of these. Okay.
Well, that's the opposite.
And so, believe it or not, after I stopped him for a legal reason, he was speeding. I don't remember all the parameters of this, but I remember stopping him for a speeding violation. And I basically was able to convince him to produce some sort of identification, which he did. And I was able to find out he had a valid driver's license, which he did. And I said, see, all this stuff could have been just, instead of you being kind of, rude out of the gate. And I issued him a He goes, well, I guess you're going to issue me a ticket. I said, I was going to issue a ticket anyway. I said, I'm not going to issue one for anything else other than the legal reason I pulled you over. But I said, I told him, this is the first time I've ever had contact with a constitutionalist. And I said, you might want to consider a different tactic if you get pulled over by law enforcement. And
Yeah.
he continued to be the kind of the antagonistic guy. And I said, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Gave him his ticket and I left.
Yeah.
So I didn't, but there's other people who failed to produce identification. I told them if they didn't, I would take them to jail. They called my bluff. I took them to jail. I said, see, this easily could have been done instead of you going to jail. Towed his car, more money out of his pocket.
Yeah.
I've had instances of those, not many. Probably in the 30 years I did police work, maybe on one hand take away a couple fingers. But most of the people I always treat people with respect. And this right here is a prime example of the public not treating law enforcement with respect. And basically,
this right here, this situation right here, could easily turn lethal, and that's my problem on both parties.
Yeah,
all the parties.
It started to go downhill, Jess, as you could see, because at least the detective had enough common sense to say, you know what, this guy got under my skin. I need just to get the hell out of here.
Well, kind of. Let's hit play and we'll continue on. And as you'll see,
has got to pull back the dog from the sheriff's department.
They're not that far from the sheriff's department. It's right down the street.
Oh, wow.
Because dog's trying to instigate a fight.
No, you're trying to instigate a fight.
Yes.
Oh, well, man.
All right, now we're at the sheriff's department.
They're go right. For what reason they go in the sheriff's department for? Oh, to file the complaint.
They're filing a complaint against the detective, which I think is proper. You'll see.
Can I help you? Can I help you?
Yep.
How can I help you?
Need to file a complaint against the detective that just touched me.
Saying that is so rude. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your name?
Tater salad.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, enough. That's it. Yeah, tater salad.
Yeah, Rachel, the look on her face says it all. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come out of the back room, saw me and sidestepped into the radio room.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. You're gonna file a complaint, but do it professionally.
Yeah.
Professionally. Don't be and continue to be an asshole, because that's exactly how you're coming across.
The sheriff?
Is that you?
There he is.
Who?
Is that you?
Who are you looking for?
The sheriff.
I'm not the sheriff.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well done.
Looks all set.
Travis Kadam. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I want to file a complaint.
Happy birthday to your granddaughter.
Detective that touched
That's
me.
awesome.
I touched you? Oh, that's right. I put that little piglet you gave me back in your pocket.
Yeah, you touched me.
See, he just admitted to touching him.
Yeah.
Told you I'd be right over to
That
complain.
is definitely a violation. Should not be reaching into their pockets.
Is that something that your policy states you do? You just go up to citizens and harass them?
No, I asked you originally why you were in front of the bank filming the bank.
So was that a consensual conversation, or did you have probable cause to suspect me of a crime?
No.
Probable cause to suspect you of a.
What the hell is it? Was it a consensual conversation?
They engaged. They didn't have to engage.
I know, but what does that even mean? A consensual conversation?
There's no such
If you don't want to have the conversation, you walk away.
You walk away. Yeah. That's not what he did.
Arrest you.
No.
I asked you simply what you were doing filming the bank.
And
Remember
then you
that?
got in my face and violated his Fourth Amendment.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Why does it matter?
Tell me why you're doing it. Tell me why you're filming me right now. Why are you shaking?
Didn't you swear an oath to the
It's
Constitution?
cold outside.
Yeah, I did a couple of times. I did when I joined the military, and I did when I started here.
Okay, so
Now
so
you're going
what's
to get in
wrong
his
with the
face
First
again?
Amendment? What's with you?
Okay, now earlier, and I cut this part out. The woman that's in the lobby, you can kind of hear in the background. She asked what they were filming for, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, we're not filming you." She's like, "Good, I don't want to be on camera." He's like, "Well, we don't got you." Well,
Yep.
her face is shown. I have blurred her out, not them, me. She said in their video she didn't want to be on film, so I blurred her face out because she stated to them she didn't want to be seen. So that's why that's
We're
blurred.
trying to have a
That's
conversation.
me.
No,
Just
you're
come
not.
over
You're
here.
over here trying to act like a
Me
bunch of innocent
keeping
people,
their word.
and law enforcement's harassing you, and that's not the case. You came here to pick a fight with us.
No, we didn't.
You're the one
And if
pointing
I
your
was,
fingers 2 inches from my chest.
you're the one with the camera in my face.
It's
I don't
called
have
the
a
First
camera.
Amendment.
You walked up to the camera. We didn't stick
You
it in your
swore an oath
face.
to
Okay.
this country.
Can
You
you-
should be ashamed of yourself right now.
You want to tell me I'm ashamed of
Yes,
myself for being a
absolutely.
paratrooper?
Absolutely, you should
wanna
be
tell me?
ashamed. Look
Shut
at how
that
you're treating
camera
this
off.
Constitution.
Stuart, I muted you because of the dogs, so I think I can unmute you.
Is that what you
Rip
do when the
your
cameras are
throat
off? How do you treat the
Whoa.
inmates here? Is that what you do?
That
to the
was
inmates
pretty
when the
ignorant
cameras
of
are
you to
off?
say.
That's what you do to a veteran, right?
That was
Oh, yeah?
really
Yeah,
ignorant
you
of
were
you
a
to say
I
that.
served my fucking country, so what do you got to
Yeah,
say? Why are
maybe-
you coming out here again? Why are you even out here right now?
Because he's trying to instigate a
What is the
fight.
point? What is the
No.
point? Why don't you get back there and push papers?
Do you?
Get back there and
Yeah,
push
go
papers.
away.
Or did
What are you talking
We're here to
Did
file
you
a
or did
complaint
you
on
not?
you. You need to
about?
leave.
I want to file another complaint now.
for what?
Defamation.
Defamation.
You don't even know me.
There's no
He's trying
defamation.
to
I'm
do
sorry.
something,
I have a
too.
FOIA request for these cameras in here right now.
Oh, here we go.
And you
FOIA
gotta go
request.
back and
Here we
push
go.
papers.
Yeah.
Right now.
They know what they're doing.
Go back
They know
and
what
push
they're
papers.
So,
Yeah.
fun fact about Michigan, they changed the law. The courts and the county do not have to grant you your FOIA request. They can deny it for any reason.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way. They can say, nope, we're not going to give it to you, apparently, which is not good.
That's yeah. So
Just open that door and get the fuck out of my
Michigan
face.
has done some
I
weird
work here.
things.
Okay, then go work here.
Doesn't mean you got to harass the citizens here.
You're harassing the citizens. One dude, they live down by Lansing, and they're all the way up in the tip of
Tell her we're
Michigan.
here to file a complaint against him, and he comes out and starts
what was
shit
the purpose
again.
to go to that specific bank at that specific location to instigate?
Just, yeah, that's what they do. They travel around the state, essentially instigating
Was it to instigate an incident?
to film because they're quote unquote educating.
Okay, so but my question is why that specific bank, that specific location? Were they
I
trying
have no idea. They just were there.
Did you hear
They
that?
just,
As we was
I don't
walking
know, throw darts and pick a spot on the map. I don't know. But,
so
but yeah, we're gonna have the sheriff come out shortly. It gets even better.
well, I'm kind of I'm asking questions to myself. And
Yeah, we're
I
waiting to
actually
talk
have
to
left
the
house.
sheriff. That's who you said you were getting.
He
Right?
is tied up in a meeting and he'll be out when he can, but you need to stand in my lobby where I have citizens.
Is this a public
We're
lobby?
citizens too.
Not really. Not of that county.
So just because we have cameras, you expect us to stand out in the cold?
It doesn't bother me at all. Ask them if it offends them.
It doesn't matter if
Oh.
it does. We're not trying to offend them, but
Here's
on social media or anything
Yeah, I
like
don't
that.
wanna
I
be on camera.
don't want to be on
the
camera.
camera's pointing that way. I'm not trying to catch you guys on camera. I was pointing it at the sheriff deputy.
I
Yeah.
don't want to be on camera.
Okay, I'm not trying to get you on camera.
Rachel has the theory that maybe they picked that bank because it's close to the sheriff's department. I don't know.
I think
Yeah,
that's a pretty good theory. I think that's a really good theory because they're trying.
Yeah.
They knew exactly where they're going. They
We
went right
don't
to
need
the
it,
sheriff
though.
department.
So if you're gonna be
Yeah.
an asshole about it.
I think they already knew. They had it planned out. I think that's
Oh,
a really good
absolutely.
theory. Yep. They had a really good theory.
Just saying, you're not entitled. You have rights.
So do I.
Okay, so they're right that
There's
when
just
you're in
no
public, you
expectation of
don't
privacy in
have an
public, that's
explicit
all.
right to privacy because you're in public.
Not that we're trying to catch
But I
you in
think
it.
that, you know, people recording you,
There you go.
I don't know, it violates
Yeah.
that
That
violates my
detective
right.
What about him?
assaulted me.
I guess
Well, he did not.
under
Leave the
today's
building and
statute-
Oh, really?
trespassing.
Hold on, here-
Trespassing
Watch out right now.
in the
This
sheriff's
is the
department?
sheriff.
That's my department. I'm the sheriff. I'm
Wow.
the
This is the
now.
sheriff. We're backing up a little bit.
So,
Just don't then.
ay, ay,
I mean, if I was an asshole, I could totally publish it. You don't, I mean, I'm just saying.
I don't want to be on camera. You don't have my consent to put me
ay.
in.
We don't need it though.
So if you're gonna be an asshole.
Yeah, they don't need your consent, but it's only
I'm
nice.
just saying, I can put you on camera. I've put you on social media.
Because kindness costs
You're
nothing.
not entitled. We have rights.
So do I.
There's just no expectation of privacy in public, that's all.
No, that's
Well,
why
yes and
they.
no.
We're trying to catch your
Yeah,
image. But
yes and no. There's certain parameters in terms of reasonable expectation of privacy in public.
Yeah,
You can't go
yeah.
crazy
that
up on somebody
detective
that's having a private conversation
assaulted
and interfere.
me.
Well, he did
But then
not.
again,
Move the
Here's
building or
the
you're
Oh,
on
really?
here's the
trespassing.
sheriff.
Out.
Trespassing
Watch out right now.
in a sheriff's
That's my
department?
department. That's my department. I'm the sheriff. Out of my building. Now.
Wow.
Wow, everything you want to do with your video and all that, out.
Okay.
Out right now.
I
Thank
guess
you.
we better
Have a
go.
nice day.
You're gonna arrest us for
See ya.
trespassing.
You betcha. Have a nice day.
Trespassing in a
Trust
public
me, it'll
building.
happen. If you're on your YouTube, have a nice day. Second Constitution Amendment, out.
What's that? What did he say? What's that mean?
Are you drunk?
I don't know what he meant by that.
Second Amendment is
Wow,
Second
okay.
Amendment's your gun rights.
Okay, you guys heard it.
Yeah, is that a threat? And I honestly took that as a threat.
Well, you know, the sheriff of the county, as I can speak as a former one, is a powerful position. You can't abuse it, but I would not be the type of person that would go against it either. You know,
Yeah.
there's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak, and I hate to use that analogy because I'm a cat lover, but you know, there's more to. I mean, if you've got a purpose, if you got a specific purpose for what you're doing, explain yourself, not just to walk into a building and say, "Well, I have the right to be here." For what purpose?
Standing on the sidewalk. See,
Yeah,
they need to like make these laws a little bit more narrow. Like you can record, okay, what you can. It's literally what you can record what you can see. Well, they should specify that you can record what you can see only with the naked eye. So no zooming in on the window, no touching the camera to the glass, recording inside the building.
Well, see, and you have this backlash now, Jess, of people that are becoming that type of persona, that antagonistic. There's no reason for them. They're saying to educate. Educate whom? Where have you educated people? Have you had training seminars? Have you had educational forums? Have you had some sort of town hall meetings to educate? Because
and they haven't done that.
No, they haven't done that.
Now, there's a way to do it, and they're not doing it properly.
Correct.
You know, but a lot of, like, I'm friends with the sheriff of our county, and, you know, he knows who these guys are, because I texted him, because they came to my county, and they were talking, the guy was talking about how, they're sensitive crybabies. They were talking about saying there were, like, microphones in the trees, in the pine trees, and I'm like, no. And I texted the sheriff, and I was like, so there are microphones, just so I know, are there microphones in the trees? And he's like, you're asking the wrong person. And I told him what was going on, and he was like, no, that's news to me. Our county doesn't have enough money to have deputies on overnight. We don't have microphones in trees outside in Michigan. Like, duh. But a lot of departments now, especially the bigger departments where they've been hitting, they're whatever. They just let them go, don't react, you know, kind of gray wall them. Yeah, nope, okay, you're right. They're in public, they're allowed to film in public, you know, but I think that like each state or whatever is going to have to kind of do some fine tooth with these laws, you know, like we need to maybe nationally say this is what media is. I've had actual reporters tell me that I am media, like I am an independent journalist.
You are considered a form of media because you have a show that you do on a regular basis. That I would say.
Yes.
So these guys do not. They say you're educated, but
no, they do. They have YouTube channels, and they live stream on their YouTube channels.
Okay, but getting back to the point that we talked about earlier, I mean, they're saying, well, we're educating, but where have you educated people? I want to see documented evidence you have provided and education to people because of what you're doing, and they can't do it. Therefore, their argument is not legitimate. And
Rachel says, yes, we have a platform.
Right.
We have a platform.
I just want to let you know, I've hopped in my truck to head to a town hall meeting at 5 o'clock my time. I'm just saying that's where I've kind of left the house because of the dog barking. But
you're fine. We have someone to hear from Germany.
Oh, okay. From
Yeah,
Germany.
I have international fans.
Well, and you know what? We got a lot more stuff to talk about too. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, you have a problem with these type of people. I'm not saying they're just significant to the state of Michigan. They're probably all over the country.
they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere, and so this creates an unnecessary concern for law enforcement because all they're trying, for the most part, law enforcement are trying to go out there to serve and protect. But you've
Yeah.
got these antagonistic people that have no specific agenda other than to cause, as Rachel said
Yeah.
earlier, to cause problems, to create a shitstorm.
And there's guys that they travel across the country doing this kind of stuff,
Just to do that.
and they're getting arrested, and they are getting convicted for stuff. So they're starting to be like, now it's like, oh, we have this problem. How do we deal with this? And there is a backlash now. And I'm just one person that went through the police academy, and I have my opinion on it. But I wanted your feedback, someone that has been in law enforcement. And as a follow-up, a couple months ago, like probably 3 or 4 months ago, they had to swear in a new sheriff for the county. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he quit, if he was fired. I have no idea what happened. I have to do some digging into that. There's also some other problems up in the tip of Michigan with some honest to God corruption in the courts and stuff. There's some issues up there, like it's bad. Judges being forced to retire and
Preaching to the choir in that one, Justin. I educate the person that just chimed in from Germany. Thank you for joining the show. You're right. We have a significant problem. It's probably no different in Michigan than it is in Nevada, than it is in Ohio, than it is in California, down the list we go. There's a lot of places that have not been exposed for their corruption. Therefore, they hold that corruption very dear to their hearts. And when you start rocking the boat, they get a little pissed off. And that's exactly what's happening here in Reno. Again, I don't want. Again, we're not going to drag.
We're not going to talk about that. I am not going to get you in trouble with your judge.
No, I don't intend to get in trouble. All I'm saying is I've never had a criminal record, and now I'm considered the most heinous person in this area. That's why
I don't think you're the most heinous person in the area.
In terms of certain people, I am. In terms of the people that truly know me, they know who I am. Then I've lived here for 49 years, but.
And part of the reason I wanted you to be on my show is I want you to have a platform to show people who you really are, not just from what's being said on YouTube comments about, happening with your case.
Right. And I sincerely appreciate that. I really do. The person who I really am is the person I've always been. I've never changed my persona. My parents taught me I keep going back to my parents because they're the people who shaped my life. And I did have some very excellent teachers through for the elementary school, high school, college. I had some great professors there, mentors, other law enforcement officers that, field training officers that trained me, other law enforcement officers.
Rachel said she doesn't think you're a bad guy either. She thinks you're one of the good guys.
I thank you, Rachel. I still have that conception as well. Unfortunately, though, I'm fighting the worst of the bad guys, who are the good guys, who pervade themselves to be the good guys, when in actuality they are worse than the bad guys that are in jail and prison. That's how scary my scenario is here. I will say this. Again, we're not getting to the nuts and bolts of the case, but I will tell you this. I know, as I'm sitting here talking to you today, Jess, and everybody, I know that my movements are being followed and surveilled. I know that they listen to my phone conversations because I have a GPS monitor attached to my leg illegally, and that the only purpose that it serves is for them to keep me harnessed in and know exactly where I am at all times, and potentially listen into private conversations, which it could be at this point in time because that GPS tracking device is actually a phone.
Oh.
and it does not indicate at any point in time when it either blinks green, which means it's okay charged, or when it blinks red, that there's an indication whether somebody's flipped a switch and now they're listening in. It could be listening right now. It would not show up anywhere except blinking green or blinking red. That in and of itself is a cause for concern. And the reason I say
I
that is
honestly
because,
agree.
is that I'm not going to change who I am. I've never changed who I am. I've always stood for what my dad said on that graduation day: to serve and protect. And even though I'm out of the profession now since July of 2019, I still have that mindset of trying to do the best I can. If there's an incident that comes up, I'm there. Unfortunately, because of what's taking place, I no longer have the abilities to adequately protect myself with my Second Amendment rights.
Rachel says they can talk through a GPS monitor?
Yes, they can.
Oh, that is scary. Rachel said, be you, sir. That's all you can be, and don't change for anyone. And I agree. I think you are one of the good guys. I honestly, on your case, I think you were helping a friend. Your intentions were right. You thought you were doing the right thing. And I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to say any more on your case. I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want the judge to yell at me.
The judge won't yell at you. You're not the focus of this. And I will say this, believe it or not, and people they laugh and scoff at me, but the bottom line is this: this situation did not materialize with Roger Hilligus. This situation materialized 22 years ago when I exposed the corruptive elements as a state trooper for the Nevada Highway Patrol. Those corruptive elements that are still in play. They are still in play, even though, quote unquote, people have retired. They're like an elephant, you don't forget. And
if they're
since
still
it's an
alive,
anecdote
it's still
scenario,
there. Yeah.
I will tell you this, and this is documented factual evidence. I don't lie to people. I've never told people lies. Why? Because that's part of being a cop. You don't lie to people. I had people after my arrest. Yeah, after my arrest, I had people in my backyard at night. I had people sending me threatening text messages. I've had people follow me and surveil me from Reno to Vegas and back, documented by people that observed it. I've had people surveilling me outside my house that was witnessed by my neighbors. This is the type of people that I'm dealing with. They are out of control. They are evil. And the only thing that scares me is this, and again, I appreciate the platform. I have always been one to stand up for morals and ethics and my principles, which I've lived on for 63 years of my life now. These people do not. And what I'm concerned about is when they pick the time and place to conduct, and as you well know, there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. We'll call it a random traffic stop.
Yeah.
Sir, we pulled you over for, let's do the old, to maintain a travel lane, or a flickering, I've heard this, a flickering taillight. In fact, I go see a counselor.
I have actually seen that. I have seen that before. It does happen. Rachel says they are scared of the knowledge you have about the corruption.
Yes, ma'am. Correct. Rachel, you're absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah.
So what bothers me is this. If I go, and I hate to say this because I don't want to be a martyr or melodramatic or everything, but if I have to go down, I want to go down on my terms, not theirs. And so the random traffic stop that takes place when they decide, it's time to take care of Mr. Handte.
Why?
And they get a inexperienced deputy or a cop or whomever to initiate the traffic stop. I will not flee from a cop.
No.
But let's just say they pulled me over for a quote-unquote flickering taillight.
You're going to be labeled as high risk anyways because you're a threat to officer safety. You're an officer.
What's going to happen? Yeah. Guess what's going to happen? I'm already flagged in the system. I know that.
Yeah.
I'm flagged as an officer safety. The second approach on my car after they get my identification, they're going to be on a heightened alert. And they'll say, gosh, we saw him make a furtive movement. We felt he had a gun in his possession. Look, we found a gun in his possession, which I don't have.
Yeah.
It'll be a throwdown gun, and we shot and killed him.
Yeah.
That's what concerns me.
That's
the
why
most.
you need like a dash cam. You need to record. You get
I
pulled
have,
over,
I
and
have,
you
I
need
have
to
a,
record.
I have a body cam.
Okay.
Yes,
It makes
I
me
have
feel
one.
at least a little bit better because
So
there will be
the
that.
cam I
There's
do have,
evidence.
it's actually in my truck right now.
You should keep it on your body.
Right now. So
Yeah.
you're right. They don't want me to talk. They don't want
Yeah.
the information I have in my head. But the funny thing is, it's already on a disk drive. I mean, not a disk. It's already a thumb drive. So if something happens to me, I already have a couple people know where the thumb drive is and produce it to the United States Department of Justice. So,
Well, if you want to
I
forward
only say
that to
is
me,
that
I can independently store it.
the antagonists that are out there are
Yeah.
more problems than need to be.
Yeah.
And I will just say that I've already gone on YouTube to make a statement before I was arrested the second time. I was arrested twice now. A second
Yeah.
time for refusing to put the GPS monitor on. And so I've got it on. So, like I said, we're not going to get into that. But I will say, remember out there for everybody in your show, this rights as citizens, don't abuse them.
Correct.
Do the right thing and adhere to. If you have an issue with an officer, whether it's on a traffic stop, whether it's on a stop, I don't know, whatever incident that takes place, and you feel that you're not being given the proper rights afforded to you under the United States Constitution, you always ask for a supervisor or other officer to respond. You don't feel comfortable.
Yes.
I will say this: my counselor recently was pulled over by a state trooper, and the reason the state trooper says, "Well, I pulled you over because I believe you're traveling too fast in the snow." Well, that's not a violation of state law. And then, of course,
Oh,
the
you
follow-up
don't have a
statement he had
driving
to
for
her was,
conditions?
"Don't I know you?" No. Well, I mean, if you're doing 80 miles an hour in solid black ice, that might be a reason. But no, actually, there is no driving on conditions per se. Okay.
We
However,
actually have driving for
the follow-up
conditions
statement he
law
made
here.
to her, don't. Yeah, well, speed too fast for conditions, but normally that's equated with an accident. At least that's what it used to be. Again, I haven't been in a highway patrol trooper position since 2003. So, but this follow-up statement he made to her was, "Don't I know you from somewhere? You look familiar." See,
yeah, that's
that
not
right
a
there
that's
is
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oppression under color of authority is what it's called.
Oof.
So
that's scary.
Made to the county says, "Well," and I won't say her name. I said, "Well, blank, you should file an internal affairs complaint against this trooper." I said,
Yeah.
"What happens if you're not the first victim? What happens if there's been other victims of his illegal traffic stops? Don't you think it's incumbent upon yourself to at least report it? Because there could be a situation where that traffic stop goes into some sort of a sexual assault or even worse." So, and that's happened before. Trust me, just
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, it has. So, I will only say that your scenario today, where with the people from the First Amendment auditors, they're nothing but a bunch of, like Rachel said, they're a bunch of shit stirrers. They're a bunch of instigators. They got no purpose other than to try and instigate an action which could potentially lead into an officer complaint and a lawsuit. They're all it's about the money. They don't care about anything else. They want to get some money. That's all they want.
Yeah, we don't make very much money off of our YouTube channels.
Yeah. So, they're trying to instigate an action to precipitate another action. And that being said, they're way off base. They're out of control. That's out of control right there. That should never take place. But once again, you've got a temperate atmosphere and climate across the country that's allowing these type of I'll say it, these type of idiots out there doing this stuff and causing problems. Are there bad cops out there? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, they are out there.
Do they need to be arrested and put in prison? Absolutely.
Yes, they do.
Is there another reason to start this craziness and add another 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 element to an already stressed out position and
No,
environment. No,
no.
there does not.
What they're
And
doing
so
is unnecessary.
exactly unnecessary. So I am
As
heading to
Rachel says, they are letting me see how far I can push them and see
yep,
what I can get out of it. They do
exactly,
it.
Rachel. Exactly. Yep.
They know that
Exactly.
behaving this way is going to get them more views on their videos.
Yep.
It's going to lead to more subscribers, so they get more money from it. Because if they're boring and they just film, cops like Terry does at Ironton Auditor, they're not going to get as much money. I choose not to showcase just sensational court videos. I cover every different, different types of cases that are boring, but I think they're important, and like there's a reason why, like, we should pay attention to this. But my channel doesn't make as much money. There's channels out there that are making $50,000 a month. I'm doing okay if I am going past the threshold every month.
It sounds. I mean, in the discussions you and I have had, it sounds to me you're doing it for a purpose. These people are not doing it for purpose. They're doing it for financial gain.
I
That's
am
a whole
doing
different
it to
ballgame.
help educate. I am doing it to help educate so
And
people
I
can
guess
learn.
I appreciate that. I guess I will add into it that I don't believe my case is boring in any way, shape, or form.
No, it is not. It's very interesting. And unfortunately with Roger and his Sov Sit stuff, he is making it even more sensationalized.
Well, and again, I will interject and let you know. Of course, we already talked about this. That Roger it's not the same Roger I met. He suffered 2 TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, and he's not the same person I met. I hope that he understands that the sovereign citizen stuff is not going to fly. It doesn't fly with me. It's never flown with me. It will never fly with me. So I don't believe in that stuff. I think it's a bunch of baloney. But I can't instill my own ideologies and statements in life to other people. If they want to believe in the fairy godmother, well, that's their call. If they want to believe in the Easter Bunny, that's their call.
Yeah,
if they want to believe in sovereign citizenship, that's their call. I don't believe in it.
And I'm pretty sure you're probably not allowed to have any contact with him, so you can't try and talk some sense into him.
No, I know, because the judge illegally made a motion that I can't have any contact. I go, wait a minute.
Well, I don't think you're allowed to have contact between co-defendants in a case anyways.
Yeah, no. Yes, we are. But he made it. Yes, we are. I was talking to him daily.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because of his refusal to cooperate with a mental health evaluation, and I get that. Trust me, because I was mandated to do a mental health or a fitness for duty evaluation after I was relieved of duty at the state trooper level. And I was walking into a trap, and the only way I escaped that trap is by playing a very, very stringent hand of poker. It was bluff poker.
Yeah.
And I was able to play it, and I was able to survive it. And we can talk about that on another day, because I want to get into this town hall meeting. I don't want to cut anybody short, but
no, you're fine.
I will talk about that because it sets the stage for what Roger is doing to a certain degree is correct. But on the other hand, the sovereign citizenship is not correct.
Yeah.
Having gone through, my first wife suffered a traumatic brain injury. She was not the lady I met. She was not the lady I married.
I'm a totally different person than I used to be. I know that.
And you would expect, look at you. You suffered a brain injury as well.
Yeah.
You're probably not the same person. You may be close. You may be close.
I am
but
not
you're
the same
person that you were before that accident.
Well, it's like I said, if you would have told me that 15 years ago that I'd be content with 2 dogs spinning yarn with a YouTube channel, what? No, no, you are insane. That it's not me, and I'm not the same person.
I appreciate the opportunity to just. I mean, you and I can talk till the cows come home.
Yeah,
we can. I've got lots of stories to tell.
I'll gladly have you back on if you want to come back. Tell you, share your story.
Want to come back and
awesome.
Rachel, God bless you. Laura, God bless you. The person from Germany, God bless you for listening and hearing this old cop tell a couple of his war stories and trying to inflect a little common sense and knowledge in life, because right now
Yeah.
there doesn't seem to be a lot of that, and that's really scary. And
You're
I'm going to go into a town hall meeting, Jess, to find out exactly how crazy it's gotten here with the school
okay.
board. And I want to thank you. Congratulations on your new vehicle purchase. I guess you're
Oh, we're not talking about that.
living on the edge. You're living on the edge.
We're living on the edge, yes, financially.
You know what? Okay, we're not talking about it. We're not talking about my case. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you back. I'd love to be back. And
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome back. Rachel said it was good talking to you, and she says that she wants to hear more soon and that you stay safe.
Rachel, I'll do my best.
And I second that.
And I appreciate it. God bless you guys. Do I feel safe? Absolutely not. Do I feel that they're vultures on the perch waiting to come get me? Yes, I do. But that being said, I'm a cop with a sixth sense, so I watch and I have a body cam. And if they don't understand that if something happens to me, there are people, including you now, that say, "What happened to Stewart?" Unfortunate traffic accident. Really?
Yeah.
Well, we got some stuff to tell to the DOJ. I hope we don't have to go that route.
I hope not.
I hope things turn out to be the best.
Yep. Rachel says, "Watch your six." I got your six too.
Thank you, Jess. And I know all you guys do. Got your six. Yeah. God bless you guys. Good night, and I'll see you soon.
Yes, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, you guys. So if you're watching still here, down in the ticker is a GoFundMe for Rachel's daughter to help her daughter go through nursing school. So if you feel up to it, if you have a couple extra pennies, if you could help donate, because we certainly need healthcare workers. So that's going to help. That GoFundMe is for her daughter's education. So if you feel it in your heart and you're able to, please donate whatever you can. Hopefully, her daughter will be the start of a whole avalanche of new healthcare workers that we desperately, desperately need. I know here in our town, we have floors of the hospitals that are closed because they don't have enough nurses. My father was in the ER for like a day and a half, and it wasn't that there wasn't a bed. There were beds. There just wasn't the staff to be able to put him in a bed on a floor. So trust me, I think if anyone has been calling doctors' offices, they're aware that we need healthcare workers right now. We're in a crisis, and I don't think we're at the apex of it at this point. So you're welcome, Rachel. Obviously, this is something I feel is important. Obviously, I think we all do. We need healthcare workers. If you're still here with me, thank you for still being here. We just finished up with Stewart Handte, who is a defendant in a case out of Nevada, Washoe County. I will put the link in the description to the playlist for our Nevada judges that is covering his case. It is an ongoing case. That is why we did not talk about it. He's under a partial gag order, and I didn't want him to talk about it. I don't want him to get in trouble. He kind of got scolded by the judge last week for talking at like a city hall meeting, which he's going to a town hall meeting. I know, can't protect everyone. But it is now after 8 p.m. I need to eat dinner. I'm hungry. I'm pretty sure my blood sugar is bottoming out. I can feel it. So I want to thank you guys for staying with me this far. And those of you that are watching in the future, thank you for watching. Also, I need to where'd it go? Right here. Oh, no. Huh. That's not it. Where'd it go? Now I see what Irish Demon's talking about. Laura, she became a member of my channel today. I super, super appreciate that. We do have the availability of memberships. If you go over to my community tab, there's the link there. There's a link for my merch shop. If you have any hot tips for course, I know I haven't really been posting many videos. I've got a lot going on personally. Been dealing with a lot on my end, so it's been a little crazy. But if you have any court cases that are like all of a sudden right now, like, woo, whoa, Jess needs to see this, I want to see her take on it, please email me or find me on Facebook. I do have a Michigan Crime Time Facebook page. Leave a comment there. And with that, thank you for watching. She McGwitch, and I will see you guys later. So have a great weekend. Everyone have a very safe Memorial Day, because it's going to be a little crazy this weekend.